5 weeks in, more than 12,000 targets hit, billions spent, and yet Iran is still armed and still dangerous. Now a new US intelligence report is telling a very different story from what the White House has been saying. Here is what you need to know. A new intelligence assessment reveals that despite weeks of US and Israeli strikes, about half of Iran's missile launchers are still intact. Half still operational, and Iran still holds thousands of attack drones, roughly 50% of its original capability. That means a large part of its strike power is still in play. Here is the contrast. President Trump says Iran's capabilities have been dramatically reduced. He says launchers are being, quote, blown to pieces and very few left. But intelligence sources tell a different story. One source says Iran is still capable of causing serious damage across the region. That's a clear gap between public messaging and intelligent findings. So what remains? Missiles still in large numbers, drones thousands ready to launch, and coastal cruise missiles, many still intact. These missiles can target ships in the Strait of Hormuz. That route carries about 20% of the world's oil. If it's blocked, global markets react immediately, and US officials admit they cannot guarantee reopening it quickly. Iran's elite naval forces also remain active. Fast boats and manned vessels still capable of disrupting shipping. So why hasn't more been destroyed? Two reasons: tunnels and mobility. Iran hides launchers deep underground and inside mountain networks. When strikes happen, they fire then move. These systems are hard to track, and some launchers marked as destroyed may only be hidden or buried. Forces are now targeting tunnel entrances, but this takes time. The White House is pushing back. Officials say Iran's attacks have dropped sharply by up to 90%. They argue the campaign is working, but here's the key point. Fewer attacks does not mean fewer weapons. Some may simply be held in reserve. President Trump says the operation will end in weeks. Some intelligence officials disagree, calling that timeline unrealistic. Here's another issue. The US and Israel count remaining weapons differently. That changes how success is measured. However, here's what makes this even more important. Iran's missile strategy isn't just about firepower. It's about how that firepower is used. US analysts say Iran is not firing at full capacity. Instead, it's pacing its attacks, saving advanced systems, testing defenses, applying pressure slowly but deliberately. Because in modern warfare, you don't just overwhelm your enemy, you outlast them. And right now, intelligence suggests Iran is playing a longer game. There's another key shift. In past conflicts, Iran relied heavily on sea mines to block shipping routes. But now that's changing. US defense officials say Iran is using missiles and drones instead to control the Strait of Hormuz. Why does this matter? Because missiles give Iran control. They can choose which ships pass and which ones don't. It's not just disruption anymore, it's precision pressure on global trade, energy, and politics. And intelligence reports warn this may be Iran's most powerful weapon of all. Control over the Strait of Hormuz gives Tehran direct influence over global oil supply. We are talking about a choke point that moves nearly a fifth of the world's oil. Even limited disruption can send prices soaring worldwide. Some analysts say this leverage is more valuable to Iran than any single military strike. So the real question isn't just how many missiles Iran has left, it's this: how long can they keep using them to shape the battlefield and the global economy? Because according to US intelligence, this conflict may be far from its peak. And here's the hard truth nobody in Washington wants to say out loud. Air power alone has never fully dismantled an enemy that went underground. Not in Vietnam, not in Iraq, not in the Houthis. Iran studied all of that. They built their military specifically to absorb this kind of punishment and survive. So as the White House counts strikes and Iran counts what it has left, the real question isn't who's winning the air campaign. It's whether the air campaign alone was ever going to be enough. We'll keep tracking this as it develops. The strikes continue. Iran still has firepower. And this story is far from over. Subscribe to The Voice of All for clear, fact-based updates.